everyone, Karen here, and today I have the 11th in my series of layouts made with the same exact nesting die. Now this time we're going to make a very shiny card with this glitter card in black and white. Now before I got started, I wanted to make sure that the paper I wanted to stick on top was actually going to glue. So I tried 3 different glues. I tried Elmer's all-purpose craft glue, and that worked. Okay, not coming off. I tried Call-El all-purpose glue. Again, it's holding. And then I tried the neutral pH adhesive, and that took a little bit longer to dry, but it did indeed hold. So all 3 of these were able to glue regular paper to the glitter and not have a problem. So that was good to know. So the first thing I want to do here is this is going to be a 5x7 card, like all the other ones have been. So I have a black 5x7 and I have a white 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. You know, pretty standard for a 5x7 card. So then what I want to do, let me move this over to the side, is to do the front. I'm going to start with number 12 here. And I want to cut out, I'm going to skip 2, so I'm going to skip 11, skip 10, I'm going to come down here to 9. And I'm going to cut this out in the center. So I want to line these 2 up, get them all centered. That looks good. And I'm going to tape these 2 together. And I'm going to put 3 pieces of tape on here just to make sure. And I'm going to cut this out. Alright, so now that I have cut this out, that leaves me with a frame that has the outside of 12, the inside of 9, and that gives me a nice thick frame. And then I have the 9 that I'm going to use for another part of this. So what I want to do is I want to cut this in half. Now when you have nesting dies, they're never an exact measurement. So the easiest thing to do when you want to find half is I'm just going to fold this in half and give it a little crease there. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom. So now I have a mark where I can cut it. Because it's not exact. It's about 4x6, but it's a little bit off. So this is the easiest way to find the center without having to do a lot of math calculations. So let me grab my guillotine. So now all I have to do is put my little crease on the line here, on the little cutting edge, hold this down, and cut it in half. Easy peasy. Alright, so let me bring in the 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 and my 2 halves, and let's put some glue on here. Now you're going to want to put a fair amount of glue on here because it has to go in between all the little nooks and crannies, and it is going to take it a moment to grab hold. So you do want to put a fair amount of glue. And I'm going to turn this, line it up, and just kind of center it here in the middle. I'm going to put it flush with the edge of the card here. And I'm just going to squeeze this really tight to get all that glue in there and all the little nooks and crannies. There we go. And I am going to give this a minute to dry because it does take an extra minute or so to dry, because you do just need to give it a chance to grab because it is such a slick surface. But it will dry. That's why I did the test beforehand. I wanted to make sure I was using the right kind of glue. Alright, so now we're going to put this one on this side. See, I can see that corner over there is not wanting to stick very well. Alright, so this will come down here. And we're just going to hold this down. Make sure this is all sticking really good. And I think I'm going to take this and put it underneath my tray over here to the side while we do the next part. And that will just hold it all down. So now I have the waste from cutting out that frame. And this is cut from the number 9. So I want to make a second frame out of this one. So I'm going to go down 2 again. So if this one was 9, I'm going to skip 8 and 7 and go to 6. And I'm once again going to put this in the center. I'm all done with these two, so I can pull this tape off. Line this up in the center. All right. Now we'll run this through my machine. All right, so now this gave me another frame. Let me put all my dies back over here. All right. Now I'm going to layer this one with a piece of white that was cut also out of the number 9. So these are the same size. And I'm going to put this up on foam. I am going to use the thicker foam. This is 1/8 of an inch thick. Let me get my glue out of the way here. We don't need this for a while. Grab my scissors. Alright, so I'm going to put some on this side and over here. Now this is a pretty heavy duty cardstock here, so I don't need to worry too much about supporting it. I will put some here at the top, and I'll put another piece down here. And we'll put some on the corners here. And that should probably be enough. Now I didn't test this. I may have to put some glue on the back here because I'm not sure if this is going to stick to the glitter card without extra glue. So we will find out in a minute. Let's pull all the backing paper off. Because I know the glue will work. So it's just a matter of if it's going to stick without extra glue. So I'm just going to line this up because they're the same size on the outside. And we are going to find out. It feels like it's sticking. Alright, let's give it a test. Let's give it a squeeze. Let's see. Oh, it's holding. It is indeed sticking. Alright, so we don't need any extra glue on that. So now we have this nice frame. Let's bring this back in. Remember, this was the frame we made with the 12 and the 9. And I'm going to put this in the center here like this. So I want to take my black, that is the 5x7, and we're going to start gluing all these pieces together here. Alright, so first let's get our mat and layer done. And then I'll put my little frame topper on there. And then we're going to put some flowers on the inside of it. This will take a second to set up. Alright, so this is in the center. And once again, I think I'm going to put my tray on top of it and just let this sit for a second. Alright, now this has had a second to settle in. It's all nice and flat. And now we have that. So now it's time to put this in the middle here. So this is going to go on here, and I think this is just going to be flat. And the reason why I backed it with the white is I wanted the back in here to be white. You absolutely could have taken this frame and just put it on like this, and that would have given you another look. Or you could have gone ahead and put another piece on this side. And you know, the possibilities are endless the way you could stack this and make a decoration. It's kind of like the monotone card, but this one is with 2 different colors, and you absolutely could stack it any way you want. Alright, so let's put some glue on this. And once again, this is the frame made with number 9 and 6 in the 12-piece set. And this will just go here in the middle. Alright, so now I was thinking I would put some flowers on this. So while this dries, let's talk about the flower pieces. Now these flowers, I made a couple because I wasn't sure what size I wanted to use here. Is just the winter white, and all this is a set of 3 different sized petals to put together. Now you can stack these different ways. If you put one of each, you end up with a big flower like this. If you take 2 of the middle one and 1 small one, you end up with a much smaller flower. You just need to use 3 sets. You can either use 3 sets that are the same, or any combination of 1 of each, or 2 of one and 1 of the other. Here again, there's many different combinations to get many different size flowers. And this die here is this little black piece here. The secret to making this look more realistic is to kind of beat this middle piece up a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean here in a minute, where you really want to fold that really good. The more you fold it and the more you kind of play with it and mush it together, the more realistic your flower is going to look like. So let's go ahead and make a couple of these flowers. So I have all the pieces cut out. So first we'll make one big flower. So the first thing we're going to do is bring in some foam, because when this cuts out, it has some little ridges already built into the die. So you really don't have to do anything with that. But what I want to do is I'm going to bring in these ball tip tools. Now this one is from Crafter's Companion, and it was a set. It's metal, it's nice and heavy, and it's going to get the job done. The set came with different size ball tips to make flowers, but this one here is plastic, and this came from the cake decorating section of your store, like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, whatever, and it will do the same exact thing. It's the same tool, just in plastic instead of metal. So if you don't have something like this, look in the cake decorating. You would be surprised at how many tools you can find in cake decorating that you can use to shape paper. Take a little perusal through and have a look. Because I used to do a lot of cake decorating, and so a lot of times I will take my tools out of the cake decorating and bring them over in the paper crafting. But the reason why I pulled this green one out is I wanted this teeny tiny one, because some of these pieces get small and you're going to want a small little ball. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I am going to push down on a piece of foam, and any piece of foam will work. So you're going to start off by just pressing in the middle and kind of going around like this. You just want to kind of teach the paper, you want it to go in a circle. Just kind of like that. And it starts to curl up. So we're getting there. So now you want to take the ball end, and I'm going to take this smaller one here. And you are just going, this is how close I can get here. You're going to take the ball, put the paper over the top of it, and you're just going to pull that paper over the top of the ball. Now depending on how you pull it, you're going to get a slightly different shape. So if you just kind of stick it in the middle and go like that, you're going to get one shape. I like to do it with my thumb and just kind of pull it over that way. And you will be able to shape all your flowers. And you can do this with leaves also. Same process. So you just keep going, and the more you do it, the softer your paper is going to get, and the more you're going to be able to shape them. So you just kind of keep going until you get the shape you're looking for. I usually go around twice to each one. And then you can come back in, press it back down again, give it another couple twirls, and even use your hand a little bit and push it all in there. And now you have a really nice shaped petal. And it's that simple. So I'm going to take a medium-sized one now. We're going to go in the middle. You can see this one is smaller, so that one would have been way too big. We're going to go in there. And this is why I wanted the little tip one, because this petal is smaller, so I wanted to use this little ball one. And I'm just going to shape these petals the same way. Now see, this is another way. You could just put the paper directly on top of the ball and just push straight down with your thumb, and it gives you that shape. So, cut out some petals and play with it. And just kind of see which way you want your petals to look. Because when you have a flower, not all the petals look the same. Alright, so there's another one. There's the medium-sized one. Now let's do a small one. So this one is really tiny. So give it a couple little swirls. And again, these are kind of tiny, so I'm just going to press them on with my thumb. So hold it over the top. If I hold this to the side, maybe you can see what I'm doing a little bit different. See, hold that over here and just press down. And you're just pressing the paper over the ball. Like that. And I'm just going to push that in here like one more time. So now those are all set. So now we have this funny little piece here that cuts out flat. And this is the little stamen that goes on the inside. So the first thing we need to do is get it more of a circle. So we're going to press down. And I'm really pressing on this one. Just going to keep going. I want those paper fibers to get all nice and soft, because I am really going to mash this together. So that looks better than it being flat. But now I'm going to take it and I'm going to kind of, let's see if I can get close enough to the camera here. I'm just going to roll it in between my fingers. And I'm just going to keep rolling it until it really gets really soft and kind of mashed up. Because the more mashed up you make this piece, the more realistic it looks. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to glue this one together. Oh wait, one more thing first. I want to take some ink and give it just a little bit of color. And I didn't want to do it before I shaped it, because I want to use all these little folds and things I've put in it to you know, make the color a little lighter or a little darker. Look, that one came out a little dark. So I'm just going to dab a little color on here. And this is a metallic ink. That's metallic rose. And I wanted it a little shinier since the paper is so shiny. We're using all the glitter paper on this one. I wanted the flower to have a little bit of shine to it. So we'll just put a little bit on here. There's that one. And notice I'm not re-inking this because there's plenty of ink on here. I just want to kind of dab these flowers. And if you flatten them out when you do this, you can go back into here and press them again. You're not going to hurt them. Alright, so there's that. And I'm just using a little finger dauber, just because it's the smallest thing that I have. Because I didn't want to use a brush on these, because the brush would have kind of gone all over the place. I needed a little bit more control that that little sponge dauber will give you. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue. Now when you stack these, you want to make sure you're offsetting them. You don't want to stack them. You know what, let me just stick this together and then I'll hold it up. There we go, like that. You want to offset the petals. So, if I pull it up, maybe you can see it a little better. So see, I kind of put this one in between that one. And that's a little crooked. Let me straighten this out. There we go. And then I'm going to put the smallest one in the middle. And again, we'll offset it. I'm just going to use my ball tool to press it down. There you go. So you can just use the ball tool to hold it in place there for a second so it can grab. There we go. Now I will take the little black piece that I beat up here, and I will put a little dab of glue in the middle. And I'm just going to place this down in the middle. And once that dries, I can separate the little pieces that came out a little bit more, but I'm going to let that dry. Alright, so that's a big flower. So now let's do a smaller one. I'm going to use 2 of the middle size. Just remember I had the big one, the middle, and the small. I'm going to use 2 of this middle one, and I'm going to use 1 small for this flower. So once again, we're going to come in, ball it all up. Then I'm going to take the ball tool, press them down, Here again, I'm just using the method of putting the paper over the top of the ball and just pressing down with my thumb, because these are kind of small. All right, come back in here. All right, and these little ones, quick little press. And push them all together again. And the little black piece for the middle, again, beat it up. There we go. All right, now let's glue these together. Oh, first let's ink them a little bit. So I'm just going to brush the tips. Just give it a little shine. If I want, give them a little, one more poke, just to bring that up there. All right, so now with the little ones, just take one of the medium-sized ones and offset them on top of each other. Hold that in place for a moment. Put some more glue. Put the smallest piece offset again. And the little black piece in the middle. Oh, this needs to be mashed up a little bit more. There you go. And we'll put that down. Let me just nudge that into place. I'm just going to pull the black piece up to the center a little bit more. There we go. Alright, so now we have that flower. So I have one big one and one medium-sized one. Now you could make one with just these tiny little pieces and you would end up with a very tiny little flower. But I don't think I'm going to use those today. So I'm either going to use one big one and two small ones or three big ones. I think I'm going to need to use one big one, two small ones. I don't think the three big ones are going to fit. So let's see. Let me clear some of this out. I'm getting quite a pile next to me. So definitely we're going to have a big one in the middle. And I'm thinking it's going to need to be, yeah, because I don't think three big ones are going to fit. I think that fills that space nicely. Just like that. Now we have to decide on a messaging for this card. And I was thinking something small, like happy birthday, right here. Because you could either put it here, on the top here, or down here. Let me think. Oh, you could put it like here. Kind of leaning toward underneath here. Like that. Well, let's get the flowers in place. Then we can figure that part out. So I'm going to put a pretty decent amount of glue on here. So I want this to catch. So we're going to press that down. And after this dries, you can pull up some of the other petals in case it flattens out on you too much. There we go. Like that. Yeah, because that flattened out. Hold on. That was way too flat. Okay. And do it more like that. You could also use hot glue on here. If you had a glue that was not sticking very well, you could use hot glue. Now I'm down in Florida, so I try not to use hot glue because I have gone to the market where I sell my cards, and I've had hot glue melt on me. So I try to stay away from it. So we have to kind of be careful here. I know a lot of people worry about the cold with their glue, but down here we have to worry about the heat. So I try to stay away from hot glue. So there we go. Just like that. You know, I'm wondering if some clear little gems would look nice on here. Let's see. I have pearls and I have clear. You know what? I think they would look really pretty on here. Let's see. This is a complete audible. Let's see. Let's put some on here and see what they look like. Here's the clear. And get a white one on there. I think the pearls. The pearls are a little more subtle. So I think I will put one here. Let me see. Okay, if I can get them to stop sticking to my fingers. I think I'll put them like that. Alright, so we'll put a little dab here. And we'll put that right there. And we'll put some glue here. And that one will go down here. If I can get them to stop sticking to my fingers. Put some more glue on here. Yeah, don't be afraid to put a fair amount of glue when you're dealing with a glitter card, because it does take more glue than most other cardstock does. Alright, I'm leaning toward right here, but I'm thinking it needs to come up just a little bit. Not as high as the frame, but it does need to come up off the card, just a little bit. Just like that. Alright, so here's my 5x7 card blank, and this is going to fit flush across the whole front of the card. So I just need to get glue all over the front here. So I'm just going to tap this down, making sure it's all flush with the bottom. My hands on the side, making sure it's flush on the sides, and give it a good press. Now the back of this is just regular paper, so it will stick just fine without having to fuss with it at all. Alright, so now this is starting to set up, so I can take my flowers a little bit and see if they've mashed down. Make sure everything is stuck. Alright. Okay, so there's the front of the card. Alright, so let's set this to the side for a moment. Alright, so the inside of the card is 5x7, so we can go as big as we want on the inside, and it will absolutely fit. So let's look at this. So that would be fine. So I think I'm going to do a plain paper on the inside, a plain black. So I'm going to tape this down, and I'm going to run this through my machine. And at the same time, I think I'm going to come down. So if this is 12, this was 12, so here's 11. I'm going to grab 10, and I'm going to cut that out of white. Let me put number 9 back over here. So let me cut these out, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I have the largest die that I cut out in black. This one here. And then I skipped one. I skipped number 11, and I cut out the third largest die in the set for white. And now I can stamp on here for my message. Alright, let me bring in my stamping platform. And I'll put the white one on my sticky mat. And I have this message that says, wishing you a wonderful birthday and may the year ahead bring you every happiness. Alright, we'll put that here in the middle. And this is just the quick dry ink. Alright, there we go. Alright. Let's put this to the side. Now we'll just need to glue this down. And get that all centered. Going 2 down gives you a little bit bigger frame there. There we go. Alright, so let's bring in our card and glue this down. And this will be done. Number 11 will be in the books. There we go. Alright, so this one, we cut 2 frames out of the largest die. We skipped 2 to get a nice wide frame. We cut that frame in half. Then the piece that we cut out of the middle here, we used as the centerpiece. And then we went down 2 more nesting dies and cut out the next size. Then we filled it with flowers and a little happy birthday here and accented a couple little pearls. Ooh, let me keep it down here on the screen. If you enjoyed this card, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing because I still have a couple more layouts to do with this nesting die. And until next time, stay crafty.